Episode 52, let's go. So, this is it. This is all I'm going to do for the whole episode is read this list of features. And the next section is really not that. Okay, it's actually a lot longer than I thought. Wow. Okay, that's pretty long. That one's pretty long too. But whatever. This episode, list of features. So let's just get right into it. I'm not actually going to be working in engine. Yeah, I'm not actually going to be working in engine for a while until I go down to getting started. But I really just want to go through the whole thing. I really want to go through. I'm tired. I really want to go through as much of the documentation as possible so that I know what is in the engine, right? Because I don't want to do things. Um, yeah, like I don't want to do things the wrong way, and I want to know what I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying. I want to know what I don't know. Okay, so let's get it. List of features. This page aims to list all features currently supported by Godot. This page lists features supported. This page lists features supported by the current stable version of Godot. Some of these features may not be available in the LTS release series 3.x. Okay, fair. All right, platforms. See system requirements for hardware and software version requirements. All right. Hmm. Can run both the editor and exported projects in Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Binaries are statically linked and can run on any distribution if compiled on an old enough base distribution. Official binaries are compiled using the Godot engine build root, allowing for binaries that work across common Linux distributions, including LTS variants. Okay. I don't really know what that means, but that's okay. Android editor support is experimental. Web browsers experimental in 4.0. Good using Godot 3.x is recommended instead when targeting HTML5. Runs exported projects on iOS and consoles, or only runs exported projects on iOS and consoles. Okay, I know you didn't hear that, but there was a very loud vehicle passing by my house. A very loud vehicle just passed by my house. Okay. Godot aims to be as platform independent as possible and can be ported to new platforms with relative ease. Um, Interesting. Sure. So that's just the engine. That's just the engine, not actually the games, not actually the exports. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to need to know that. Projects written in C Sharp using Godot 4 currently cannot be exported to the web platform. To use C Sharp on that platform, Consider Godot 3 instead. Android and iOS platform support is available as of Godot 4.2, but this is experimental and some limitations apply. Okay, I don't really care about that because I'm going to be using GD script. I will probably never use C sharp. Editor features scene tree editor, built-in script editor. Okay, but I need to go to bed. Support for external script editors such as Visual Studio Code or Vim. GD script debugger. Support for debugging in threads is available since 4.2. Visual Profiler with CPU and GPU time indications for each step of the rendering pipeline. That seems handy. Performance monitoring tools, including custom performance monitors. Okay, I'll learn about that when I go down to scripting. Best practices would be good to know. Pretty good. Okay. Live script reloading, live scene editing. Changes will reflect in the editor and will be kept after closing the running project. Okay. I actually haven't tried that out yet. Or maybe I have, but I just don't remember or it wasn't very clear. Live script reloading. I definitely haven't tried that. Remote inspector changes won't reflect in the editor and won't be kept after closing the running project. Remote inspector. I don't really know what that means. Live camera replication. Move the in-editor camera and see the result in the running project. Okay, haven't done that yet. Built-in offline class reference documentation. True. I have used that. Use the editor in dozens of languages contributed by the community. Okay. Plugins. Editor plugins can be downloaded from the asset library to extend editor functionality. Create your own plugins using GDScript to add new features or speed up your workflow. Download projects from the asset library in the project manager and import them directly. Pretty good. Yeah, I can. I'll learn that later. Okay. Rendering. 3 rendering methods running over 2 rendering drivers are available. Forward Plus running over Vulkan 1.0 with optional Vulkan 1.1 and 1.2 features. The most advanced graphics backend suited for desktop platforms only. Used by default on desktop platforms. Forward Mobile, that's the same. Less features, but renders simple scenes faster, suited for mobile and desktop platforms, used by default on mobile platforms. Compatibility running over OpenGL 3.3 / OpenGL ES 3.0 / WebGL 2.0, the least advanced graphics backend, suited for low-end desktop and mobile platforms used by default on the web platform. Okay. So I don't really know what this means. Like, this doesn't mean anything to me because I'm not a programmer. But cool. This sounds good. 2D graphics, sprite, polygon, and line rendering. High-level tools to draw lines and polygons such as Polygon 2D and Line 2D. with support for texturing. Okay, let me go to this one actually. 2D polyline that can optionally be textured. This node draws a 2D polyline, i.e. a shape consisting of several points connected by segments. Polyline, got it. Line 2D is not a mathematical polyline, i.e. the segments are not infinitely thin. It is intended for rendering and it can be colored and optionally textured. Certain configurations may be possible to draw nicely, such as very sharp angles. In these situations, the node uses fallback drawing logic to look decent. Line 2D is drawn using a 2D mesh. Okay. Sure. I wonder if I could have set this to the tick marks of the volume slider, or I could have textured it. Like I could have used this instead of a gradient with a solid color. Whatever. I will figure it out later. But I don't think you can draw. I don't think you can. What is this called? Oh my fudging. Yeah, I don't think you can use nodes on like textures. I mean, it's considered a mesh, but you would have to store it somewhere and then use it. Maybe you could do that. I don't know. Whatever. Animated Sprite 2D as a helper for creating animated sprites, parallax layers, pseudo 3D support including preview in the editor, 2D lighting with normal maps and specular maps, point, omni/spot, and directional 2D lights. Hard or soft shadows, adjustable on a per light basis. Custom shaders can access a real-time SDF representation of the 2D scene based on light occluder 2D nodes, which can be used for improved 2D lighting effects, including 2D global illumination. Custom shaders can access a real-time signed distance field representation of the 2D scene. Okay, fair. Font rendering using bitmaps, rasterization. I don't know what I forgot what that meant. Using free type or multi-channel signed distance fields. Bitmap fonts can be exported using tools like BM font or imported from images for fixed width fonts only. Dynamic fonts support monochrome fonts as well as colored fonts. Supported formats are blah blah blah. Dynamic fonts support optional font outlines with adjustable width and color. Variable fonts and open type features including ligatures. I don't know what that means. Dynamic, okay. Simulated bold and italic when the font file lacks those styles. Oversampling to keep fonts sharp at high resolutions. Subpixel positioning to make fonts crisper at low sizes. LCD subpixel optimizations to make fonts even crisper at low sizes. Signed distance field fonts can be scaled at any resolution without requiring re-rasterization. Let me just look up what this means. The process of converting a vector-based image or object into a raster or bitmap format. Involves converting mathematical descriptions of shapes and lines into a grid of pixels. Oh, okay, sure. Why not? And then let's look up what this means. A thing used for tying or binding something tightly. Okay, a character consisting of two or more joined letters. A stroke that joins adjacent letters in writing or printing. Okay. That is, I don't need that. I'm never going to use that probably. GPU-based particles with support for custom particle shaders. Beautiful. CPU-based particles. Optional 2D HDR rendering for better glow capabilities. HDR. Okay. I know it stands for high definition range, but I forgot what that means. High dynamic. Oh, did I just high dynamic range? Is that what I just said? Whatever. Also known as high dynamic range lighting is the rendering of computer graphics. I think that is what I said. I'm so tired. Wow. Rendering of computer graphics scenes by using a lighting calculation done in high dynamic range. This allows preservation of details that may be lost due to limiting contrast ratios. Also known as wide is a signal with a higher dynamic range than usual. Ratio between the largest and smallest values that a certain quantity can assume. Got it. It's often used in the context of signals like sound and light. Oh, okay. So it just means there's larger contrast. That's it. That's all it means. Which I guess like there's more contrast between the lights. Okay, this is a Garbo resolution image. Nice. Yeah, like everything here is like dull and kind of like the same brightness. And here there's like really dark over here and really bright over here. Okay, that's fair. That makes sense. 2D tools. Tile maps for 2D tile-based level design. 2D camera with built-in smoothing and drag margins. Sure. Path 2D node to represent a path in 2D space. Can be drawn in the editor or generated procedurally. Path follow 2D node to make nodes follow a path 2D. Okay. That is really handy, actually. What the fudge? So that, so literally this can, wait, this actually just This is a way to very easily recreate the thing that I made in Unity following that tutorial. That's crazy. 2D Geometry Helper class. Nice. Okay. 2D physics. Physics bodies, static bodies, animatable bodies. For objects moving only by script or animation, such as doors and platforms. Rigid bodies, character bodies, joints, areas to detect bodies entering or leaving it. Collision detection, built-in shapes. Line. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Built-in shapes. Line, box, circle, capsule, world, boundary. Collision polygons can be drawn manually or generated from a sprite in the editor. 3D graphics. HDR rendering with sRGB. For sure, nice. Uh, perspective, orthographic, and frustum offset cameras. Frustum offset cameras. A viewing frustum, bro, that just sounds so weird to me. Frustum.
Frustum.
That just sounds so weird to me, bro. I've like pretty much never heard that that term. I maybe heard or seen that term one time in my whole life or twice. Is the region of space in the modeled world that may appear on the screen. It is the field of view of a perspective virtual camera system. Okay. Ah! Bro, why did it do that? Okay, frustum offset cameras. So I'm assuming that means you can just change the field of view. Pretty sure. When using the forward plus backend, a depth prepass is used to improve performance in complex scenes by reducing the cost of overdraw. Variable rate shading on supported GPUs in forward plus and forward mobile. Forward mobile. Variable rate shading. Variable rate shading. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Basically, it just shades, like the shading rate changes based on the performance of the game, I guess? Sure. Like, or as necessary. Physically based rendering. Built-in material features follows the Disney PBR model. Physically based. Physically based rendering. Disney PBR model. I don't really need to know what this is, actually, but I will. Okay. Discuss how we are able to add the right level of artistic control while preserving simplicity and robustness. Okay, I'm not going to get into that because I don't need to know it right now. Supports Burley Lambert, Lambert Wrap, and tune diffuse shading nodes. Fudge. But okay. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Supports Schlick GGX, tune and disabled specular shading modes. Did I say nodes for this before? Oh, tune diffuse. Okay. Uses a roughness metallic workflow with support for ORM features. Uses horizon specular occlusion to improve material appearance. Bro, I don't know what any of this fudging means. Please. Normal mapping. Normal maps. Normal mapping is a texture mapping technique used for faking the lighting of bumps and dents. An implementation of bump mapping. It is used to add details without using more polygons. Common use of this technique is to greatly enhance the appearance and details of a low polygon model by generating a normal map from a high polygon model or height map. Greatly enhance but generate a normal map from a high polygon model. Normal maps. Okay. Normal maps are commonly stored as regular RGB images where the RGB. Normal mapping used to re-detail simplified meshes. Normal map A is baked from that many triangle model onto 768 triangle model. Baked from this triangle model onto this triangle model. This results in a render of the 768 triangle model. Okay, so how do you get the high poly? How do you get the high poly model? So I get it. I get it. Normal mapping creates shading. I'm gonna need to know this for modeling. Normal mapping creates a shading texture or a shading template for a low polygon model based on a high polygon model. Is that what I'm getting from this? But do you have to make the high polygon model? Like that's... Hmm. Also, some of these do not look like triangles. Like this one here doesn't look like a triangle. Okay, whatever. Parallax slash relief mapping with automatic level detail based on distance. Wait, what? Parallax slash relief mapping with automatic level of detail based on distance. Wait, that's... That seems kind of nuts, actually. Am I wrong? It seems like an insane feature. Am I wrong about that? Detail mapping for the albedo and normal maps. Okay. Subsurface scattering and transmit. What? What? Wait. Godot supports subsurface scattering? That seems pretty high level. I mean, maybe it doesn't do it very well, but what the I just okay. Search. Thank you. Transmittance. Internal transmittance refers to energy lost by absorption. Wait, what? Yeah, that seems crazy. I'm gonna finish this section today, so I kind of gotta hurry up a little bit. Screen space refraction with support for material roughness, resulting in blurry refraction. Okay, proximity fade and distance fade. Soft particles, sure. Distance fade can use alpha blending or dithering to avoid going through the transparent pipeline. Don't really know what that means. Dithering can be determined on a per pixel or per object basis. I don't really know what that means either. Add white noise to a digital recording. Okay. Display or print a color image in such a way that there appears to be more colors in it than are really available. Randomize quantization error. I forgot what this means. Process of constraining an input from a continuous or otherwise large set of values. Process of constraining an input from a continuous or otherwise large set of values to a discrete set. Okay, sure. And what does that have to do with, okay, quantization error? An intentionally applied form of noise used to randomize quantization error. Preventing large-scale patterns such as color banding in images. Color banding is a subtle form of posterization in digital images caused by the color of each pixel being rounded to the nearest of the digital color levels. While posterization is done for artistic effect, subtle form of posterization. Okay. Color banding. It's a subtle form of posterization. Visual effect produced when an image has a limited number of tones or colors. Rather than gradations of tone and color. Subtle. That doesn't look subtle, bro. What the fudge? Okay. Oh, wait a second. Posterization is done for artistic effect. Color binning is an undesired artifact. So this is color binning, this is posterization. I guess. Sure. Brrr, thank you. Dithering can be determined on a per pixel or per object basis. Okay, fair enough. Real-time lighting. Directional lights. Sun/moon up to 4 per scene. Omnidirectional lights. Spot lights with adjustable cone angle and attenuation. I forgot what attenuation meant. The reduction of the amplitude of a signal. Electric current or other oscillation. Visible spectrum. Amplitude. Wouldn't amplitude be like vertical? Or am I wrong? Maximum extent of a vibration or no. Yeah, amplitude. So what happens when light amplitude changes, actually? I thought period was what changed. Was what changed to cause light to change color? Am I wrong? What? No! What happens when a fly lands on my food? What happens when the amplitude of light changes? Oh. The amplitude of light waves is associated with our experience of brightness or intensity of color, with larger amplitudes appearing brighter. Amplitude for light is really just the number of photons. Energy is higher though for a shorter wavelength light. C is always constant. Fair. Okay, what the fuck? Yeah, never mind. I'm wrong. Okay, and attenuation, so brightness, that just means brightness. Nice. Specular indirect light and volumetric fog energy can be adjusted on a per light basis. Adjustable light size for fake area lights will also make shadows blurrier. Optional distance fade system to fade distant lights and their shadows, improving performance. When using the Ford Plus backend, lights are rendered with clustered Ford optimization to decrease their individual cost. Clustered rendering also lifts any limits on the number of lights that can be used on mesh. When using the Ford mobile backend, up to 8 Omni lights and 8 spotlights can be displayed per mesh resource. Backlighting can be used to overcome this limit if needed. Shadow mapping. Fudge me, bro. I don't know what any of this crap means. Okay, I'm just gonna skip it. Honestly. Yeah, I gotta skip some of this stuff, or this is gonna take me a long time. Baked light maps, fast but can't be updated at runtime. Supports baking indirect light only or baking both direct and indirect lighting. The bake mode can be adjusted on a per light basis to allow for hybrid light baking setups. The bake mode can be adjusted on a per light basis. Sure. Uh, I'm gonna have to learn how to do all that later. I know what it is, but I'm gonna have to learn how to do it all later. Supports lighting dynamic objects using automatic and manually placed probes. Sure. Optionally supports directional lighting and rough reflections based on spherical harmonics. I don't know what that is. Spherical harmonics. Are special functions defined on the surface of a sphere. They are often employed in solving partial differential equations. In many scientific fields, they are often employed in solving partial differential. The table of spherical harmonics contains a list of common spherical harmonics. Since the spherical harmonics form a complete set of orthogonal functions, and thus an orthonormal basis, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to know. Light maps are baked on the GPU using compute shaders. Baking can only be performed from the editor, not in exported projects. Supports GPU-based denoising. Okay. With that, which I don't know what it is, and with that, which I don't know what it is. Voxel-based GI probes. Ooh. Honestly, this looks better to me, though. Like, this looks more stylized. Supports dynamic lights and dynamic occluders while also supporting reflections. Okay. Okay, require global illumination. I'm probably not gonna do that though. I'm probably not even gonna use this. This is like advanced stuff that you want in a realistic looking game. I'm probably never gonna make a realistic looking game. Well, probably not for a long fudging time, basically. Sign distance field gastro and gastrointestinal. Global illumination designed for large open worlds. Sign distance field. Global illumination designed for large open worlds. Supports dynamic lights but not dynamic occluders. Supports reflections. No baking required. Yeah. I'm not going to use global illumination. I'm not. I'm pretty much never going to use global illumination. Okay. Um, Screen space indirect lighting at half or full resolution, fully real time. It supports any kind of emissive light source, including decals. Screen space indirect lighting. Sure, yeah. Uh, this looks better to me. Like, I understand if you want things to look more realistic, but like, like, I don't. I don't want things to look more realistic. You know what I mean? Screen space. What is this? Sign distance field global illumination. Sure. Voxel, GI, and screen. Okay. Sign distance field global illumination used to refer to pass to allow for rendering global illumination at half resolution to improve performance while still having functional MSAA support. I don't know what that means. Reflections. Okay, I am gonna skip all this. Um, hmm. Voxel-based reflections are visible on transparent surfaces, while rough SDF-based reflections are Voxel-based reflections are visible on transparent surfaces, while rough SDF-based reflections are visible on transparent surfaces. Okay. I don't need to know any of this. Okay, sky. Panorama sky using an HDRI. Sure. Um, Procedural sky and physically based sky that respond to the directional lights in the scene. Support for custom sky shaders. Okay, maybe I actually am going to use global illumination. Whoops. But, whatever. The radiance map used for ambient and specular light can be updated in real time depending on the quality settings chosen. Exponential depth fog, exponential height fog, support for automatic fog color. Depending on the sky color, aerial perspective. Support for sun scattering in the fog. Support for controlling how much fog rendering should affect the sky with separate controls for traditional and volumetric fog. Support for making specific materials ignore fog. Sure. Global volumetric fog that reacts to light and shadows. Volumetric fog can take indirect light into account when using these global illumination types. Fog volume nodes that can be placed to add fog to specific areas or remove fog from specific areas. Supported shapes include box, ellipse, cone, cylinder, and 3D texture-based density maps. Each fog volume can have its own custom shader. It can be used together with traditional fog. Sure. You know what would be actually cool? A horror game where there's a um a horror game where you have a flashlight or some kind of other object that lets you see through fog. Like the whole game is foggy, but it's first person, and when you turn this on, you get like you could see through the fog like in a circle. That would be sick, actually. Or like further into the fog, just in the circle, so that it creates tension since you can't see the whole screen. That would be sick. Particles, GPU-based particles. Okay. Bro, I don't know. Okay. I am going to be skipping a lot, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. I don't have time for this. I don't really have time to read every single word, especially if I don't know what the fudge it means. Sub-emitters. Particle occlusion. CPU's post-processing. Okay, this one I actually want to read. Tone mapping, automatic exposure adjustments based on viewport brightness and manual exposure override. Near and far depth of field with adjustable bokeh simulation. Why the fudge? I'm sorry. I, I guess it's a French word, so whatever. SAO? Sword Art Online? Did I just accidentally copy that? Sword Art Online? Wow. I. Okay, whatever. Screen space ambient occlusion at half or full resolution. Sure. Glow slash bloom with optional bicubic upscaling. Nice. Glow can have a color dirt map texture acting as a lens dirt effect. Glow can be used as a screen space blur effect, color correction, roughness limiter, brightness contrast, and saturation. Depth of field. Okay, they already mentioned field of view, I guess. Texture filtering. Nice. Texture filtering options are defined on a per use basis, not a per texture basis. Okay, so that means you can only do it per project, not per texture. Okay. Texture compression, don't care. Anti-aliasing, which got it. Scenes rendered in 3D can exhibit aliasing effects, artifacts. I feel like it would be cool if you just made this like part of the game. Am I wrong? Like just have tons of aliasing, just tons and tons of aliasing so that it actually the game actually looks like retro, you know? Like you add aliasing. Like you add more aliasing than there already is. Do you get what I'm saying? Like this looks sick. This looks aesthetic, bro. Okay, got it. We have anti-aliasing. That's nuts. Resolution scaling. Support for rendering 3D at a lower resolution while keeping 2D rendering at the original scale. This can be used to improve performance. Texture MIP map LOD bias. Don't really know what that means. Most effects listed above can be adjusted for better performance or to further improve quality. This can be helpful when using Godot for offline rendering. Oh, handy. 3D tools. Built-in meshes, cube, cylinder / cone, hemisphere. Thought it was, oh, hemisphere. Hemisphere. Not semisphere, not semi-sphere. Hemisphere. Hemisphere. Alright, hemi and sphere, I'm assuming. Prism, plane, quad, torus, ribbon, cube, tube. Tube. What? Torus, ribbon, tube. I don't know what a ribbon is. And I'm not exactly sure what a quad is. What is a quad in college? Rendering. No, my F you, Stack Overflow. I actually have to blur that out now. Great. Every single time I have to blur it out. Every single time. Why doesn't it just not do it? I was told that when we model something for films, we maintain topology for edge polygons, any polygon which has more or less than 4. The left one is all quad. The quads. The right one has the same normal shape, but 1/4 is made of triangles instead of quads. Now see what happens when the boxes get subdivided. Different, yeah. Note the way the edge loops have changed. What? What is a quad in 3D modeling? It has exactly 4 vertices at the corners connected by 4 edges. This is the most desired type of polygon when creating digital models, and many artists like to build their objects using nothing but quads to help make their work more appealing to customers in complex pipelines. Okay, sure. So why isn't there a try? Grid maps for 3D tile-based level design. Constructive solid geometry intended for prototyping. And is a tool to combine basic shapes or custom message to create more complex shapes. I don't know, it seems like it could be used for more than just prototyping. Tools for procedural geometry generation. Path 3D. Node to represent a path in 3D space. Can it be drawn in the editor? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's the same with 3D. Nice. Path follow 3D. Node. 3D geometry helper class. Always good. Support for exporting the current scene as a... I don't know what the fudge that means. 3D physics, static bodies, animatable bodies, rigid bodies, character bodies, vehicle bodies, joints, soft bodies, rag, intended for arcade physics, not simulation. Oh. Soft bodies, rag dolls. Nice. Soft bodies. Doesn't that take a lot, actually? Whatever. Areas to detect bodies entering or leaving it. Collision detection. Built-in shapes. Cuboid, sphere, capsule, cylinder, world, boundary. Okay, sure. Generate triangle collision shapes for any mesh from the editor. Generate one or several convex collision shapes for any mesh from the editor. Sure. Shaders, 2D, custom vertex fragment and light shaders, 3D, custom vertex fragment, light and sky shaders. Text-based shaders using a shader language inspired by GLSL. Nice. I will get into that. I will get into that later. Visual Shader Editor, support for visual shader plugins, scripting. Nice. Scripting, object-oriented design pattern with scripts extending nodes. Signals and groups for communicating between scripts, support for cross-language scripting. Nice. Many 2D, 3D, and 4D linear algebra data types such as vectors and transforms. What the fudge? What the fudge? 3D script high level interpreted language with optional static typing. Syntax inspired by Python, however, GDScript is not based on Python. Syntax highlighting is provided on GitHub. Use threads to perform asynchronous actions or make use of multiple processor cores. Before using a built-in class in a thread, read thread safe APIs first to check whether it can be safely used in a thread. Threads allow simultaneous execution of code. It allows offloading work from the main thread. Godot supports threads and provides many handy functions to use them. I'm going to have to figure that out later. Asynchronous actions. Wouldn't it be synchronous though? Seriously, wouldn't it be synchronous? Synchronous. Asynchronous action. Oh, or make use of multiple processor cores. So what is an asynchronous action? Asynchronous. Like something happens and then a thing happens after it, not at the same time. Sure. C sharp, don't care. Got him. Audio, mono, stereo, blah, blah, blah. Non-positional and positional playback in 2D and 3D. Optional Doppler effect? That, yeah, I mean, this engine seems like it has some pretty advanced stuff. Support for reroutable audio buses and effects with dozens of effects included. Support for polyphony playing several sounds from a single audio stream player node. Okay, fair. Support for random volume and pitch, support for real-time pitch scaling, support for sequential/random sample selection, including repetition prevention when using random sample selection. Sure. Listener 2D and listener 3D nodes to listen from a position different from the camera. Sure. Support for procedural audio generation. I feel like I was going to look something up. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. Whatever. Okay. Audio input to record microphones. Okay. MIDI input. No support for MIDI output yet. Okay, fair enough. APIs, Windows Wasapi, macOS Core Audio, Linux Impulse Audio or ALSA. Import, support for custom import plugins. I don't really, probably never gonna use that. Oh, import. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I probably will not use a custom import plugin, but I know what import means now. Images, see importing images, audio WAV with optional compression, IMA-ADCA, IMA-ADPCM compression. Og Vorbis. What the fuck? Like, randomly, there's just like a spell, like a freaking wizard spell phrase on the Godot documentation. Yeah, obviously it's not, but it looks like one. MP3, 3D scenes, see importing 3D scenes. Okay, I don't care. Input mapping system using hard-coded input events or remappable input actions. Access values can be mapped to do two different actions with configurable dead zone. With a configurable dead zone. Use the same code to support both keyboards and gamepads. Keyboard input keys can be mapped in physical mode to be independent of the keyboard layout. Keys can be mapped in physical mode to be independent of the keyboard layout. Okay. Mouse input. The mouse cursor can be visible, hidden, captured, or confined within the window. When captured, raw input will be used on Windows and Linux to sidestep the OS's mouse acceleration settings. Makes sense. Gamepad input up to 8 simultaneous controllers. Why do I over enunciate this word every single time almost? Pen/tablet input with pressure support, navigation A star algorithm, 2D and 3D. I don't know what this means. Oh, Navigation meshes. Okay, I know what it means now. For navigation meshes or navigation for what the fudge? That's not what I meant to do. Whatever. Permalink to this headline. Wait, what? Navigation. Oh, it changes the URL. That's cool. Uh, okay. Navigation of basically nodes. Nodes, yeah. Navigation meshes with dynamic obstacle avoidance in 2D and 3D generate navigation meshes from the editor or at runtime, including from an exported project. Networking. Low-level TCP networking using stream, peer, and TCP server. I don't know any of this. High-level multiplayer API using UDP and ENET. Automatic replication using remote procedure calls. Why do people not use an Oxford comma, bro? Why? I'm like so confused. Um, I don't know any of these terms, so that's fine. Internationalization, full support for Unicode, including emoji. Store localization strings using CSV or get text. Use localized strings in your project automatically in GUI elements or by using the TR function. Support for pluralization and translation context when using get text translations. Sure. Support for bidirectional typesetting, text shaping, and open type localized forms. Automatic UI mirroring for right to left locales. Support for pseudo localization to test your project for I18N friendliness? What the Okay, whatever. Windowing and OS integration spawn multiple independent windows within a single process. Move, resize, minimize, and maximize windows spawned by the project. Change the window title and icon. I sure hope you'd be able to do that. Fudge, man. But I guess they're trying to list all the features, all the features. Request attention will cause the title bar to blink on most platforms. Full screen mode uses borderless full screen by default on Windows for fast alt tabbing, but can optionally use exclusive full screen to reduce input lag. Okay, that's fair. Borderless windows, full screen or non-full screen. Ability to keep a window always on top. That's like a normal feature, I guess, but it seems like that could be exploited for sure. Global menu integration on Mac OS. Actually, is this a normal feature? No, that doesn't seem like a normal feature. I mean, it seems like a security risk, but I guess people could just alt tab or people could just alt F4. Global menu integration on macOS. Sure. Execute commands in a blocking or non-blocking manner. Open, including running multiple instances of the same project. Sure. Open file paths and URLs using default or custom protocol handlers if registered on the system. Parse custom command line arguments. Sure, I don't really. Sure, I mean, I guess I do know what that means. Sure, maybe. Any Godot binary can be used as a headless server by starting it with the -- headless command line argument. This allows running the engine without a GPU or display server. Interesting. Mobile in-app purchases on Android and iOS. Woo! Microtransactions! I love microtransactions! I don't even know the time, actually. What the fudge is the time? 10:09. Okay, that's fine. X. Okay, support for advertisements using third-party modules. Yeah, advertisements. Woo! XR support. Don't care. GUI system. Godot's GUI is built using the same control nodes used to make the games in Godot. The editor UI can easily be extended in many ways using add-ons. Okay. Nodes. Buttons, checkboxes, check buttons, radio buttons, text entry using line edit, single line, and text edit, multiple lines. Text edit also supports code editing features, such as displaying line numbers and syntax highlighting. Text edit also supports code editing features, such as displaying line numbers and syntax highlighting. Interesting. So I'm wondering if someone has made a game for people to code inside, like for people to edit the code of the project inside. That seems kind of cool, actually. Drop down menus using pop-up menu and option button. Drop down menus. Scroll bars. I'm not sure I understand what that means, but it's okay. Scroll bars, labels, a rich text label for text formatted using BB code with support for animated custom effects. Trees can also be used to represent tables. Color picker with RGB and HSV modes. Controls can be rotated and scaled. Sizing. Anchors to keep GUI elements in a specific corner, edge, or centered. Containers to place GUI elements automatically following certain rules. Stack layouts, grid layouts, flow layouts. Margin, centered and aspect ratio layouts, draggable splitter layouts. Scale to multiple resolutions using the canvas items or viewport stretch modes. Support any aspect ratio using anchors and the expand stretch aspect. Sure. Yeah, cool, I guess. Theming. Built-in theme editor. Generate a theme based on the current editor theme settings. Sure. Procedural vector-based theming using style box flat. Supports rounded slash beveled corners, drop shadows per border width, and anti-aliasing. Texture-based theming using style box texture. Godot's small distribution size can make it a suitable alternative to frameworks like Electron or Qt. Animation. Direct kinematics and inverse kinematics. Oh, that's handy. Wait, that's... I mean, again, that just seems... This just seems like... it just seems... What would direct kinematics be? Inverse kinematics would be animation based on the stepping of the, like based on the object that another object makes contact with, and direct kinematics would be what? Direct kinematics would be based on the object that is making contact? Is that what I'm getting? Or is that actually it? From my understanding, that is it, and these are more difficult to do than this, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe they're not. I don't know, seems pretty advanced, though, is what I'm saying. Support for animating any property with customizable interpolation. Sure. Support for calling methods in animation tracks. Support for playing sounds in animation tracks. Support for Bezier curves in animation. Forgot what this is. Yeah. Yes, sure. Busy. It's kind of a fun word to say. Honestly, I think French is a fun language as much as it annoys me. I think it is a fun language to speak. Uh, yeah, all these are pretty good. File formats. Scenes and resources can be saved in text-based or binary formats. Text-based formats are human-readable and more friendly to version control. Binary formats are faster to save / load for large scenes / resources. Wow, that's uh, that's really handy, actually. What the fudge? Read and write text or binary files using file access can optionally be compressed or encrypted. All good. All really good features. Read and write JSON files. Read and write. Oh. Oh yeah, that's really good. I mean, these are all great features. I guess if they weren't great, then they wouldn't be added. Read and write any style configuration files using config file can deserialize any Godot data type, including vector 2, 3 color. I don't know what that is. XML, don't really know what that is. I'll just save images, audio / video, fonts, and zip archives in an exported project without having to go through Godot's import system. Okay. Pack game data into a PCK file, custom format optimized for fast seeking into a zip archive or directly into the executable for single file distribution. Export additional PCK files that can be read by the engine to support mods and DLCs. Okay, pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, good features to have. They are good features to have. Cool. I didn't read that out loud. Video playback with built-in support for OGG Theora. Movie Maker mode to record videos from a writing project with synchronized audio and perfect frame pacing. Okay. Sure. Maybe this is for like, it's for like replay modes in video games or something. Low level access to servers which allows bypassing the scene trees overhead when needed. Don't know exactly what that means. Command line interface for automation. Export and deploy projects using continuous integration platforms. Shell, sure. Shell command line interface for automation. Okay. Shell completion scripts are available for Bash, ZSH, and Fish. Right, things I do not use. Print color text to standard output on all platforms using print rich. Sure. Support for C++ modules statically linked into the engine binary. Okay, I mean that's handy if I'm gonna write in C++, which I'm probably not. Engine and editor written in C++ 17 can be compiled using GCC Clang and MSVC. Min GW is also supported. Okay, I'm not going to be using any of these. Friendly towards packagers. In most cases, system libraries can be used instead of the ones provided by Godot. The build system doesn't download anything. Builds can be fully reproducible. Builds can be fully reproducible. Okay. I think I know what that means. Licensed under the permissive MIT license. Open development process with contributions. Welcome. The Godot proposals repository lists features that have been requested by the community and may be implemented in future Godot releases. Yeah, I mean, this is really nice, especially this. This part is really nice. And this part is really nice too. I will figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's good to know that Godot has these things built in so I don't actually have to write. Yeah, so I don't actually have to write systems myself or write functionality myself. I will just keep that in mind. I'm probably going to look up how to do it anyway. Scenes and resources can be saved in text-based or binary format. And this might be useful for me later. And this, I mean, this might be useful for me later, maybe. Okay. This is probably going to be useful for me later, maybe. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all the features? Nice. That seems like kind of less than I thought. I feel like they didn't list everything. But I could be wrong. All right, let's look at system requirements. This should be very short. Why? Okay. Uh, 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 what do I have? I have an i5, I think. Basically, and I have 16 gigs of RAM, I think, so I don't think that matters. Godot editor, desktop, or laptop PC minimum. Mobile device minimum recommended 12 gigabytes. Okay. Storage 1.5. Operating system. Oh, nice. Opera. Windows 10. Nice. Linux distribution released after 2020. Got him? Got him? So I don't care about this, really. This page contains system requirements for the editor and exported projects. These specifications are given for informative purposes only, but they can be referred to if you're looking to build or upgrade a system to use Godot on. Yeah, I don't think I need to worry about this. Windows 7, 8, and 8.1 are supported on a best effort basis. These versions are not regularly tested, and some features may be missing, such as colored print rich console output. Support for Windows 7, 8, and 8.1 may be removed in a future Godot 4.x release, which makes sense. I mean, what, there are like 5 people still using Windows 7, there are like 10 people, or sorry, probably like 25 people using Windows 8 and like 15 people using Windows 8.1. Or maybe these are swapped. I don't actually know how popular they are. But I'm pretty sure it's like zero. I'm pretty sure the people using these and using Godot are pretty much are zero. I'm pretty sure it's zero. Vulkan drivers for these Windows versions are known to have issues with memory leaks. As a result, it's recommended to stick to the compatibility rendering method when running Godot on a Windows version older than 10. Sure. I forget, what is a memory leak again? Unintentional form of memory consumption whereby the developer fails to free an allocated block of memory when no longer needed. Okay, yeah, yeah, I mean that's fine. I should be able to. I think I'm pretty good at about avoiding memory leaks in games usually, so that's pretty good. Um, minimum. Sorry, recommended 1050. I'm pretty sure I have a 1070 Ti. I'm pretty sure I have a 1070 Ti. Let me look. System about. I have an i7 actually. Never mind. I have an i7. I have 16 gigs of RAM, and I have. Where the fudge is my. Where the fudge is my graphics card? System components. How do I check my... What? Devices. Okay. Um, I have an i7. That's pretty good. I didn't realize. Didn't realize I had an Intel i7. I'm gonna buy an AMD chip next when I have the money, and I actually have the money to buy like to build a new computer, like a brand new computer. And I'm gonna have 10 terabytes of storage. Uh, Probably not that much. Let's see where the fudge is my drivers. How do I check my fudging? How do I check my graphics card? Oh, there you go. Yeah. NVIDIA control panel, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. Yes, that's what I have. Okay, yep. I have the I have the recommended system requirements. I have above the recommended system requirements. Crazy. Let me look here. Complying with licenses. MIT license. Yeah, okay, so I will read the FAQ next. What I basically am going up to is this here, and I'm going to do the 2D game and then the 3D game. That should give me... I mean, I'm probably not going to go through the entire fudging documentation. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm probably not going to go through the entire documentation. I will probably go up to best practices here. Yeah. I'll probably go up to best practices and then read some community here. Like, I'll read some of these and see if I actually, like, need to read them. And then I will read community. Yeah. And actually, list of features, which ones did I click on? Create your own plugins. Line 2D. 2D HDR rendering. Geometry helper class. GI. Custom sky shaders. Like, do I need constructive solid geometry? Like, how many of these do I actually need to use? Like, how many of these do I actually need to go through the manual to to know how to use. Or to learn soon. Like to learn to be able to do what I want to do with my first game, which I'm just making for learning. I'm pretty sure none of them. Okay, yep. Next episode, I will go through the FAQ, but that was it for this episode. That should have been episode 52. Thank you all so much for watching, and you will all see me tomorrow.